Hi friends, my name is Aqil Ahmed, and in this particular video tutorial I will show you how to import multiple XML files to SQL Server table using SSIS. The agenda of today's video tutorial is that we will load the multiple XML files from a folder to the SQL Server. So let's jump to the demo. In my div files location I got two XML files, sellers.xml and sellers2.xml. So for example, if I show you the first file, sellers.xml, so it contains person's ID, first name, last name, email, gender and the country information. Okay, and I think there are 1000 records in this file. Yeah, there are 1000 records in the first file. Now let me close this one and let me open the another XML file, and it contains just 10 records. Okay, I created this file from the first file. Okay, so the first file contains 1000 records, the second file contains only 10 records. Okay, so let me close this file as well. So now let me try to import the file into the SQL Server table using SSIS package. So this is my blank SSIS package that I'll be using today. So first of all, I will show you how we can just import a XML file into a SQL Server table. So I will be using the default method. Then I will show you that there is a catch, like how we can import the file dynamically, by providing the file name into the SSIS package. So this is the data flow task, and let me configure this one. So to import an XML file, we can use the XML source. So I can just drag and drop the XML source into the data flow task, and now I can configure the XML source from here. I need to browse the XML file location. So our XML file is situated at D files location. So I can select maybe the first file, click open, and here we need to generate the XSD file for this particular XML file. So we can click on generate XSD and we can click on save. So the XSD file will be generated and it contains the information about the XML file. So now we can click on the columns and we can click on OK. So now our XML source is ready to read the file from the sellers.xml file. Now we can use the OLEDB destination to write the data to a SQL Server table. So we can connect the XML source with the OLEDB destination. So if you look at the SSMS, so we have a sellers table created here in the test database. So right now the table is empty. So we will be importing the data to this particular SQL table. So now I can just right click and configure the OLEDB destination. Click new to create a new OLEDB connection manager, and the database name is test. So we already have a connection here, so we can click on OK. From data access mode, we can select table or view fast load so that it can do the bulk insert, and then we can select the table that into which we want to insert the data to. So our table name is sellers, so I will select sellers from here, and then I can go to the mappings and I can make sure that all input columns have been mapped with the destination column, so they are automatically done. So now I can click on OK. So our basic SSIS package is ready, which can import the data from the sellers.xml file into the SQL Server table. So if I execute the package now, so it should import 1000 records. So you can see that the package ran fine and it has inserted 1000 records from the XML file to the SQL Server table. So there is a strange thing that when you try to import the data, for example from a flat file or the Excel file or even from the SQL Server, then there should be a connection. You will see a connection under the connection manager's pane, but in case of the XML file I don't see any connection here. Okay, where for example I can just pass the XML file dynamically. Okay, so there is no connection here, and if I right click and configure the XML source, so the XML file name is hard coded here. Okay, so I want to pass the XML file name dynamically, maybe from the for each loop container, so that we can import all the XML files from a folder. Okay, so there is a catch, that's why I created this video, like how you can do that. Okay, so first of all, what we can do, we can create a variable here, and I will call the variable is XML file path. Okay, and the data type will be string here, and then we can just pass the one of the default value to the XML file. So this is the default value, sellers.xml. I can paste it here. Another thing is, let me show you the table that should have 1000 records. So if I execute the select query, so you can see that 1000 records have been populated to this table. Okay, so let me truncate this table so that we can just load all the XML files. Okay, the two XML files. Now I can go back to the SSIS package. So we have created a SSIS variable XML file path, and then we have assigned a default XML file value. Okay, now I can close this one. So to pass the XML path dynamically to this particular data flow task to the XML source, what we need to do, if you right click on the data flow task and go to the properties, and if you check the properties here, so you will see a property here, XML source.xml data. Okay, so this property XML source.xml data, this contains the XML file path. So if somehow we can just modify this value dynamically, then that particular XML file should be imported, and of course the layout should not change. Okay, let's try to pass this value. So if you check the expressions here, and if you click on three dots, then from the property you can see a property XML source.xml data. So we need to assign the value to the XML source.xml data from the SSIS variable. So I can just drag and drop the XML file path into the expression, click on evaluate expression, okay. So now what happened, that the value of the XML source.xml data, that will be assigned from the SSIS variable that we created. Now if you click on expression, so you can see that this property XML source.xml data, this value is being assigned from the XML file path SSIS variable. So now let me just drag and drop the for each loop container, which can actually get the file name, and we can pass the file name to the data flow task. So I can just drag and drop the for each loop container here, and I can configure the for each loop container. Because we need to loop through the file, so we will select the for each file enumerator, and the folder path is the D files location. So I will select D files from here, and I want to import the XML file, so I will put star.xml so that it can only loop through the XML files. Now I will go to the variable mapping, and from here I will select the XML file path SSIS variable, so that for each file iteration it will get the file path and it will pass the file path to the XML file path SSIS variable, and then this variable will pass the file path to the data flow task. Okay, now I can just drag and drop the data flow task into the for each loop container, and our package is done. Okay, so right now we don't have any data in the sellers table. Now what will happen, that for each loop container, it will loop through all the files through this folder, all the XML files, and it will get the path of the first file, and it will pass the path of the first file to the data flow task and into the XML source. Okay, and that file will be imported. Similarly, for second iteration, it will get the path of the second file, it will get the path and will assign the path to the SSIS variable XML file path, and then this will pass the through expressions to the XML source.xml data, and then it will import the second file. Okay, so this is how it will work. So let me execute the SSIS package and see how it will import the two files. You can put multiple files here, okay, and all files should be imported. So you can see that first it imported the first file where it imported 1000 records, then it imported the second file and it has imported only 10 records. So the final table, it should contain 1010 records. So you can see that it contains 1010 records, and it has imported the data successfully into the SQL Server table. Yeah, so this was about like importing multiple XML files using SSIS package into the SQL Server table. So I think that's it for today's video, and I will share the sellers.xml and sellers2.xml file with you, so that maybe if you want to try to import the same file, then you can try it. Okay, so I think that's it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching the video, and if you like the video, then please click the like button, do subscribe to our channel, press the bell icon and click on all so that you will be notified every time I put a new video. Thank you so much.